Hi, Matic. Hey, Vel. Hey, Smartfool. I am slightly early. Just been sitting around, so I thought I'll turn it on and see who's early as well. Hope you're all well. Um, sounds really good that I'm holding a speech, but no, I've been invited to join a webinar, so do make sure that you guys. I don't have the link. I can't bring up the link again, so if you can help me out, paste the link. But yeah, hope you guys can join that session as well after this. I think it's an hour after this one. Been invited to speak at another brokerage webinar. Thanks, Val. Good morning, Jen B. How you doing? I'm doing very well, Matic. How are you? We had quite a number of speaking engagements. Um, just something to do during the day or the evening. Any good trades anyone got into? Do let me know. Good to see Matic. Hey, digital business. Good to have you back. Hi, BL. How you doing? Quite funny. I was just looking at I've been watching the dollar index, and it is right at similar to where we were yesterday. So it went down, went up a little bit, it went down a little bit, then it's sitting right across, sitting right at the same place we had during the stream yesterday. So it's going to be funny. Hope it's not all the same thing over and over again. As usual, a couple of minutes before we get started. How are you guys enjoying the daily market analysis so far? Put it into the chat. Let me know if I haven't asked for feedback for a long time. I just realized. So if there's anything else I can do for you guys, I can help you guys with. Do let me know. Put it into the chat. If you enjoyed it, I know. Put it in. Let me know what you like about it. Maybe I can do more of that. If there are things that you're looking for, put it into the chat. Let me know as well. Good morning, Carsten. How are you doing? Quite interesting. We've been doing this for quite a long time now, so enjoying it. Hey, Spiros, how are you doing? Thanks, BL. Good morning. I'm blessed. Oh, blessed. 2 more minutes and we shall get started. Hang in there. Thanks for that, Vel. I kind of expected Vel to. Vel went quiet for a while, so I was like, okay, I know Vel is typing something up. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Vel. Thank you, Carsten. I hope it's not, the worry was that this becomes almost like a newspaper, right? And every day you get a newspaper, you might or might not read it. It's good to have, but it's not. I want it to be super impactful. I want it to help you guys with your trading journey, your trade setups, pretty much everything that you do with trading. So I want it to be more the economist rather than the newspaper. So working on that. Hey Nick, how you doing today? I'm doing very well. 1453. Sorry, you guys got super long nicknames on trading.live, so I just go for the last couple. Spiros is on vacation. Spiros always seems to be on vacation. I want that life. Maybe I don't actually. I like trading. Alrighty, let's get started. So again, thank you all for joining me on this daily market analysis. If you are new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let us know where you're joining us from. I love to find out. For all the regulars, I know you guys are here and I know you guys enjoy it. So do give me the feedback. If there's anything else I can do for you guys, put it into the chat, let me know. I'll be happy to try and improve on this, or definitely I'm sure there's ways to improve on this daily market analysis. So I'll be working on that for you guys as well. With all that said, if you do have questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat. Let me know any trades you got into, anything you'd like me to share with you my points of view. I'll be happy to do that. For the guys on YouTube, if you can, the regulars, the club members, help me out, put the link in there. I can't bring up the link right now. There is a part 2, not part 2. I have been invited to speak at a brokerage webinar at 5 p.m. GMT plus 8 later today, so in about 2 hours time. So we'll end this at 4, then you take a bit of a break. You can hear from me again at 5. What I do during a daily market analysis, I look at trades on a H1 time frame. During the talk later, I will be looking at it on a H4 time frame. Okay, so there were some questions about H4 time frame setups. You can get a bit of a overview of that during that session. Okay, so with that, what else am I missing out? Good morning, Angel Case. How are you doing? Hey, Lainey. Good morning. Hi, AYJ. How are you doing? Okay, yes. One more thing is that the link is there again. I know I've been sending out the link too many times, but never too much. Do make sure you join the Discord channel. It is there so that we can take our discussions beyond this session. If I get into any trades, I'll share that with you. Anytime I'm looking to move my stop loss or close out a trade, I'll share that with you as well. Any big news events, we can have that discussion. And also, we have a super friendly community. So everyone's sharing trade ideas, everyone's sharing learning objectives, indicators, concepts. It's all there. Make sure you join the Discord channel. All right. With all that, now a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence because the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. Your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Okay? So everyone trades differently, objectives, financial situation, the time you spend in front of a screen is all different. So that's why I look at directing at what I share more towards education, more towards enabling you guys to trade better, hopefully enabling you guys to trade better. Is not so much down to what lot size I got into or how many trades I get and what kind of results we're looking at, right? It's all looking for that good setup, the high probability setup. Eventually, even the best setup could be reversed against us if something news gets released that we just don't foresee, right? So that's why I would say, use this, try and have your own analysis during this session. If it aligns with your own analysis, then you could get onto it with a little bit more confidence. What the club members will also realize is that when I start scalping in the markets, I tend to go quiet in the club just because, on the community, just because when it's scalping, it's time sensitive. Not everyone scalps. So that's why I do this daily analysis on the H1 time frame, just so that you have something that's not as time sensitive. We look at the setups which are a little bit further away, and then we do another update by the next day at 3 p.m. GMT plus 8. That said, about the next day, tomorrow is National Day in Singapore. It is almost like Independence Day in Singapore. So there will be no live stream tomorrow, right? There will be no live stream tomorrow. So you have that 1 hour free for yourself for tomorrow. But because we don't have something tomorrow, we have 2 hours today. The next one at 5 o'clock. Okay? Let's get to it. Before that, good afternoon, Desiree. How are you doing? I want to read what Digital Business said. This is awesome. Okay. Which is analyze on my own, then watch to see if it aligns. That's exactly what I was just saying. Creates aligns with your analysis to help myself improve as a trader, not just become addicted to following but not learning. You got it, word for word. Oh, same concept there. Digital business, exactly what I was trying to get towards. Thanks for that. Alrighty. So, looking at the news, I was just working on some stuff. Take that away. Okay, yesterday, as we were talking yesterday, we said, not a lot of news. Don't expect too much to happen. Nothing significant apart from the yen. Nothing significant happened in terms of news and price movements. All the way through to today as well, not much, right? I have been watching the charts, watching candles move slightly higher and then back down again, and then slightly lower and then back up again. Haven't got into any trades over the last, yesterday and today. So like I was telling you guys, just sitting there waiting. What we are looking at is tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. GMT plus 8. CPI year on year for the Chinese. It was 0%, expected minus 0.4%. Okay, but that's going to have some impact, mostly on the Aussie dollar, but it's not always going to translate to or correlate to a very good movement on the Aussie. What I mean by that is, if you look at it on the 10th of July, we went from 0.2 to 0%. Then if we look at the Aussie dollar now, on the 10th of July, I'm just wondering why it looks so messy. On the 10th of July, where are we? So at 9:30, there. Okay, zoom in a little bit. You see that 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you see that it didn't, at that release of the news from the Chinese CPI year on year from 0.2 to 0, it didn't do too much to the Aussie dollar. 0.6685 ended our 667.7776. So it didn't do too much. It gradually did drop lower, not because of the CPI, but it's really because of the way or the structure of the Aussie at that resistance, that trading within that range. Okay, so although there is a big news on the Chinese CPI data, I don't think it'll be a direct, or I don't think it'll be a big and direct price mover on the Aussie dollar, despite it being a major trading partner. Then at 11 a.m. we have the Kiwi with their inflation expectations quarter on quarter was a 2.7%. It does look like they don't give a forecast, you see. They just come out with an actual release. It does look like the inflation growth in New Zealand is slowing down. So I anticipate to see this maybe at a 2.5%. Yeah, maybe about 2.5%. Just continuing on with that slowdown in inflation growth. And with that, we might see some downside on the Kiwi dollar, because if inflation continues to slow down, inflation growth continues to slow down, the likelihood or the impetus for the RBNZ to keep increasing rates or to talk about increasing rates is going to reduce as well. So the less hawkish, we're going to see that Kiwi dollar possibly trade slightly to the downside. And then nothing much else all the way through to Thursday, because we're not going to have a session tomorrow. I'll tell you about Thursday. We do have the CPI year on year for the US, looking like a small uptick from 3 to 3.3%. Okay, so if you're going to be entering any trades from today through to tomorrow, just be careful. On Thursday we have US CPI numbers to be released. Might look like a small uptick, could be driven by, remember how average hourly earnings went from 0.3 to 0.4% on Friday. This could be one of the contributing factors leading to inflation growth ticking slightly higher. Okay, so I'll tell you more about that during our session on Thursday at 3. With that, then it's relatively straightforward, nothing much else. Good morning, Christina. How are you doing? So looking at the dollar index, right? Today is the 8th of August. And I was just laughing about this before we started the session officially. This was where we were yesterday. This red candle, 3 p.m. it started and closed out there. And then at 2 p.m. we were looking at that coming back down. So I was looking at this red candle and I was just thinking, it's doing exactly, it was coming to the point exactly where we were yesterday. I was hoping that it doesn't affect or makes it a little bit more interesting. So we'll go through the charts and have a look. With the way the dollar index moved overnight, right? So we were saying that if it breaks above, it could get to 102.80, right? But I was saying that it could reject 102.30 in that it went to 102.36 before coming back down, breaking the bullish trend line to trade lower towards 102. So it actually did break the trend line, came down to just slightly below 102, consolidated early this morning, pushed back up, and it's still along that 61.8 retracement level. Okay, why 61.8? We have that dotted line there, but I will consider this whole thing as 61.8 is also because if I had this down, take all that away, see that this is a 61.8 for the slightly longer term. So this whole area would be considered as a resistance area, right? An interim resistance area. So it's in that it's being held, it's still being held below 102.40. Okay, so I'll take all of this away. So that's invalidated. Can we adjust this? Could work as well. Okay, what I do like from the move overnight, was that retracement, right, from 102.36, 102.40 down towards 102, consolidate and bounce back up. As I always say, you know, every uptrend or every continuation to the upside does need that retracement, right? A straight line to the upside is harder, is more dangerous than, you know, seeing it go up, retrace, go back higher, retrace, go back higher, retrace again. So this is a healthy development, or this is a development of a healthy trend to the upside. And if I did this, let's test this out as a channel that could start developing. We could see this develop upwards. Not really a channel right now. Okay, so what I'm looking for here on the dollar index as that trend line supports, I'm looking for it to break to the upside. Right now, I'm looking for this to break to the upside. So above 102.40, we could see it get towards 102.80. This would also invalidate that double top scenario, right? That double top setup there as it pushes higher, supported by this upward trend line. So I'll be happy with that. I'm switching a view towards that. I'll be switching a view towards a bit of a bullishness for the dollar index. Dollar index needs to break above 102.40 to trade higher towards 102.80. This is the all right. Does that make sense? All good? So with that view, thinking that we might see some upside on the dollar index, that's going to paint the buyers across the board for the other pairs as well. Okay. Good morning, FX Chief Priest. How are you doing? So with that, then looking at the Kiwi dollar, we had that. It did not trigger because the dollar index sat right across. So we'll take that away. Did not break. At this point, it is testing that low that we saw on Thursday, last week's low. Right? The Kiwi dollar is testing last week's low at right now 0.6060. What we're looking for, and you can see this low is quite significant. 6060 is right there. It was also the low that, let me look better. Okay. So we saw this level tested towards the end of June. We saw it tested towards the end or the beginning of August. And right now it's testing again. If it does break past that point, we have another level here. Not a very, in fact, I would say this is not a very strong swing. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll switch around. I like this because it's tested a couple of times. This is a interim, just because it's tested once and it's a bit further back. The next support level at 0.5590. Okay, so what I'll be looking for here, anticipating that dollar strength to continue, or some dollar strength to continue, looking for the Kiwi dollar, again expecting the tomorrow's inflation expectations maybe bring the Kiwi dollar slightly lower. I'll be looking for this to break this support for further downside potential. So what I'll be looking for here is to sell 60, go a bit lower, 6050, stop loss 20 pips, take profit, you could go down to 60, and then you do have a bit of a hesitation area at 6030. Right, so you could be looking at a 1:1 as a first level. If it breaks past this point, then you have a 1:3 to the downside. If it breaks past that point, you could move this to break even, or you could even secure it, secure some profits on your trade. So that's what I'll be looking for. There is a risk that it could bounce from this point. That's why I'm looking at it at 6050. So I'll be looking at this sell at 0.6. What am I doing? 0.6050. Stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. Okay, it's not ready now. We are looking for this to push higher. Will lead to this pushing lower. And that's why I want it past this point. I wanted to close past 6050 because this was where it bounced as well on the 29th of June. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Then on to the Aussie. Almost move as we expected. All right, almost move as we expected. It went down, went up slightly, not as high as we thought to that resistance, but as it broke that trend line, we did see that downward move. I missed out on this trade because I was looking at it at 6580. It dropped, so this was how I was thinking about this last night. Well, last night was that because it dropped, I was thinking that it could come back up a little bit stronger as it was pushing. These two candles was pushing. I thought it would come up a lot stronger, retest this point before turning back down. Shot down, bounced around. Today started trading lower. Didn't get into that trade. I did not want to get in at office at about 8, about that point. Right, I was looking at that, thinking that I could go for 50, right, just with that equal low there. But my stop loss would be about that 50 level, 45, 50 level, because I still want it above that resistance. At that time, when I was looking at the dollar index, it was at this level, right, at 9 o'clock. So it came back up to that high, to the equal high. I wasn't sure whether it was going to break above or it's going to turn back down. So I didn't see as a reason why, or another reason why we could see the Aussie dollar dropping strongly. So that's why I didn't get into that trade on the Aussie dollar. Now that it's broken, can take that away. This is not required anymore. That trend line is still holding us to the down, or still holding the Aussie to the downside. So that all makes sense. There is a bit of an equal low there. Then we have a significant low at 0.6465. Okay. So what I would say here, I would prefer the Kiwi dollar more than the Aussie. Is also because if it does break below this low here, right? If it does break below this point, or we can even call it the support, near-term support level, what you would be looking at is maybe about 6510, maybe even slightly lower, 65. If you go 65, then you want it to break below 65. So about 510. Stop loss will be about 20, 25 pips. Your take profit will be about 40 something pips at the best. That could work, but 6510 might be a little bit too near. You might be looking at 6505. Stop loss about 20. And your take profit is not going to be, the risk to reward is not going to be fantastic. So because of this, I would say that I'll be looking for a reaction here, right, along this support level, anticipating that dollar strength, we could see this trade down towards support, right, of 6465. However, let's do an alternate scenario that if I don't even see this bouncing back down. I would say, okay, Aussie might trade down to 6465. It's more of a short-term trade. I wouldn't rank it too high just because it's not a 6510. it's a managed trade. Okay, I'll put it that way. It's a managed trade. 25 pips stop loss, 45 pip take profit. It's not a set and forget. It's something that you might want to have to manage a little bit closely. 6510. Okay, that one. So this would be a trade that if you're sitting there watching it, then I would, on a smaller time frame, that'd be something that I would be looking at. Not like the Kiwi dollar, where if it breaks, I'll be more confident to sell and then let it try and run to the downside. This one, if I sold it down, I'll be watching it just because there's not a lot of space lower. Right, checking the H4 time frame. The last time it broke below this point, last one was below this point, was in November. We do have lower positions, but I think for now, 6465 would be cool. Okay, so with that, then looking at the yen, right? I know Pedro, big shout out to Pedro. I don't think he's awake at this time. South America. So Pedro was telling the group in the Discord that he was buying the yen to the upside, right? As it bounced off that support. I do this, okay. As it bounced off that support, he did indicate that he was buying it up. I think he closed out at about 12 at that point. So I think he got in at about 142, closed out at about 142.50. Good 50 pips to the upside. What transpired today was that the yen continued surging to the upside. Because of this news where was it? The Governor Ueda was saying that what was that? I was just reading that news. Yeah, there you go. Yen continues to weaken after BOJ Governor Ueda expressed concern that on the 28th of July, when they did indicate that they were buying the 10-year JGBs at 1%. Despite that, we didn't see the yen weak. We didn't see the yen strengthen. We did in fact see the yen weaken because of that lead on to weaken because of that news. And then yesterday I was sharing in the group as well that another yen analyst, right, backing Ultra Easy, so one reason. And yesterday there was a Mr. Yen came out and said that there were no reason for, there you go, Saki Barras expects no yen intervention. The joke is that as much as anyone comes out and says that there shouldn't be an intervention, there wouldn't be an intervention, they don't need to do an intervention, what happens is that after all that, we do see the Bank of Japan intervene. All right, and also given that it is now approaching that 143 level, 145 level, which the last time it got there, we saw some level of intervention from the Bank of Japan. So what I would say now on the US yen is that trade did not trigger. It broke above that point, that away. At this level here, we would say that there is upside potential on the US yen. I think that the weakness on the yen might be slightly overplayed. I think that the upside on the US yen is going to be likely to be driven by the strength of the dollar, right? The strength of the dollar. That said, I would say just be careful. There was a big reaction along 143.80, which we saw on the 3rd of August. So if this candle closes green, closest to the upside, above 143. What I could be looking for here, it's about 143.20, just a quick trade to the upside, 143.80, and then a tight stop loss, no more than 30 pips. So 60 pips to 80 pips, 60 to 30 pips, that makes sense. Slightly higher risk because you guys know that I would normally say that I would put it above the previous high. But I think that with the trajectory, 143.20, 30 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit would be reasonable. Okay. So we're not looking for that counter trend, that speculative counter trend on the yen anymore. Maybe at 144, but right now we're looking to buy at 143.20. Stop loss of 30 pips. Take profit of 60 pips to the upside towards that previous high that we saw on the 3rd of August. Goofy says, I don't really like the yen pair at the moment, so I would stay away from yen pair for now. For sure. It's very choppy, but I do like how the yen trends. So that would be the main reason why that would be one of the reasons why I would get into the yen. But for sure, if it's a way it's moving, if it's a way the price action is happening that you don't like, very well stay away. There are a lot of other trading opportunities. Is Ueda another Pinocchio? I don't think so. I don't know Ueda. I don't know Ueda. But I don't know his policies too well. I don't know his tendencies too well. I did like Kuroda-san a lot more. Or a lot easier to read. Probably just have to get used to what Ueda says and what he does. I'll get back to you on that, BL. Okay, so that's the US yen. Looking at it possibly to the upside. Then on to the pound. Dollar did not break higher. Take that away. Equal high still maintains. So that interim level still stays at 1.28. Okay, what I'm tempted to do is move this to 1.28. So I'll take this away. 1.28 is nice round number resistance level that we see. Take this H channel away as well. Yeah, well, hey, I would love to have a coffee or green tea with Ueda someday. Right? So that's upward channel that we saw on the pound dollar over the last couple of days. Now that it's breaking to the downside, support level at 1.26 makes sense. Currently at 1.2742. I would say anticipating dollar strength again, looking for this to turn down, break below that trend line. You could be looking to sell this. Now let's look. Where would be a good place to sell? $38.2. I would like this point. Let's go. Tell you what I like is this point here. So it's bounced off this level to trade up. To be a little bit safer, I would say I'll wait for it to break this trend line, this bullish trend line, break below the previous low, previous swing low, then I would look to sell down, so about 1.27. Stop loss 25 pips. Take profit could go to 90. Could be looking at 80 as well. So I'll say 90, you could close out anywhere in between. Right? So looking at dollar strength to drag the pound dollar down, breaking that trend line, breaking that horizontal interim support. 1.27, 25 pip stop, 90 pip take. sell one, sell 1.27, stop loss 25, take profit 90. Go. Okay. That I like how the dollar index is moving. Forward to that. Alrighty. Then on to the euro dollar. Again, we were looking for it to test higher, did not because of the dollar index moving, of the way the dollar index was moving. I was gaining ground, so 61.8 is still in play. I would revise this. So, Robbie was saying in the group that he needs to redraw his zones. Very crucial to keep adjusting your zones. So I'll head it there before. If you see how I had my support level there, it would be ignoring these lows. So I would revise my zones, consider this low, right? And then I do have an interim level here with a big support at the next point. What I would be looking for here is, if it does break down, you could be, again, a managed position. Hey, Robbie, how you doing? Hey, Ismet. You could be looking for 1.0960. Tight stop loss of 20 pips. Take profit of 40. That could be one trade. Right? You're going to manage it. And then the next one, I would say, I would want to get out here. Okay, if I did trade this down, I would want to get out here. Then I'll wait. If it does break below this support again at 1.0905, then I would go for a 25 pip stop loss, then a 65 pip take profit to the downside again. Right? I still see this, the way it's struggled to find any upside, the current downward push, the way the dollar looks like it's going to be climbing to the upside. I anticipate that we could see this continue pushing lower. I don't think a trend line would fit here. Oh, well, it does. You look at that, applying the pressure to the downside, and that's why I'll be looking at that for the euro dollar. Okay, and if I took this whole thing, then 61.8 is right there, which is also why it bounced off here and why we want to wait for it to break before looking to sell down. Okay, so we look at that. 1.0960, stop loss 20, take profit 40. Do help me out. If you like the session so far, click that like and subscribe button, the thumbs up on YouTube, the rocket ship on TradingView, that clappy hand thing on trading.live. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Right, we're looking to sell 1.0960, stop loss 20, profit 40. Then beyond that, have the next trade lower. Beyond that, we have the next one down at 1.0905. I tend to prefer this next one lower rather than this. This will be something that I might be sitting there watching on a M15 time frame kind of trade. Definitely, if it does drop over the next couple of hours, I'll miss this trade. I'm on another call after this, but that's why I'll be looking for, or tempted towards looking for it to break this low for the next move lower. Okay, so that's my view on the euro dollar. Any questions so far? You guys been quiet. Hope it's all good. Let me know. Then also click that like, subscribe button. Alrighty. So with that, then onto the US Swiss franc. Obviously did not move that much. There's a little bit optimistic thinking that the US Swiss franc was going to move that much. Yesterday, I think with not much news happening, right? US Swiss franc still being supported, dollar strength, looking for it to push up. Right now, I wouldn't be. It's right in the middle of the support resistance, right? So you guys, if you've been following me over the last couple of months or many months, my analysis tends to be very repeatable. My analysis tends to be very repeatable. I look for the reaction along the support or resistance levels, or fib level. Then also I look at news first, how it's tempted to, how it could push prices in either direction. Then I look for a reaction along the support or resistance level, ideally following trend. If it comes to be in the middle of that support and resistance, like what the US Swiss franc is doing right now, then I would say, I'm not going to look to enter any trades. What I would be looking for here is a possible push towards that resistance, then maybe continuing on with that range to trade back down. But for now, I'll just be looking for the US Swiss franc to trade up to 0.88. Might face a little bit of resistance as we have that trend line, maybe holding it back a little bit. But I think if the dollar does push up, then we could see this push past that trend line to the upside, right? But I think 0.88 could hold. It's most likely going to hold unless we see massive upside from the dollar index. Thank you, Sifa Benny. Really appreciate that. So now looking at the US Swiss franc, I would say wait, look for reaction along 0.88. Okay, good. Next up, US CAD did not, well, as much as it shows that it did not close below, so we didn't trigger that trade. Very nice is that this upward trend line continues to hold. When this upward trend line continues to hold, a slight adjustment, and it is approaching that resistance of 1.3460, which was last reached in the 5th, on the 5th of June. Okay, so again, it is right in the middle there. Look for it to get to the resistance. I am anticipating some level of pullback, right? Again, because this is a very big, strong move to the upside. If you look at it on the Bollinger Band, it is climbing slightly outside of Bollinger. So I am looking for it to either sit there or retrace slightly. What I would like to see is a bit of a retrace. Maybe, I don't think it'll come, I would like to say it's going to come down to this 1.3397. I don't think it'll come that far, right? Especially if the dollar continues the way to the upside. I think that could see it come down to 1.34 before bouncing back up again. So because of that, what I will be looking for is bounce, or even if it sits there, 1.3425, 35 pips. 35 pips, your stop loss at best is going to be 30 pips. I don't like it there. Hey Diggs, by the way, how are you doing? Yeah, I don't like that risk to reward there. So I would like to see this get up to that resistance. I think we're going to see some reaction there. Also bearing in mind that yesterday We did have a CAD bank holiday, not observed by every bank, but there was some lower liquidity during the US session. CAD news to be released. Building permits. Doesn't look like it's going to be very good news. Then, not a lot of CAD news following on from that. All right. So what I would say, CAD, scalp it up. Robbie is really happy now that I said that. Scalp it up to that resistance. If you are comfortable with doing that, then at that resistance, assuming or anticipating that dollar strength to continue, next resistance is at, oh, look at that. There we go. That's the resistance there. Moving on from this, we have that. So because of this level here and that big drop, I think it's a, I know there's a term on the smart money concepts for this. I forgot what the term was. But because of that big drop, then maybe 1.35 would be reasonable. And then further up from that, we have a big major resistance here at 1.3653. I'm just putting in the lines for now, and then 1.3576. Coming back to it, still pushing up, right? I would say that if it breaks above that resistance, yeah, I tell you what I think is going to happen in that. Okay, we know that you want to trade up to that resistance. I think what's going to happen is it's going to come to that resistance. Might take a while. It'll spike up, come back down, test, then it'll push back up. Given that we see that dollar strength continue to the upside. Okay, so because of this, I would say that, and how I would love for this to be awesome. Right, I would say that we could see this 1.3470 stop loss would be reasonable at 30 pips. Take profit will be up to 90 pips to the 100 pips to the upside. With a bit of an interim at 1.35. Okay. But with that said, I don't see any reason why this is likely to happen today. I don't see this whole move happening today. I think that for today, we're likely to see this move up to this point, then maybe hesitate along this. Hey, Booba, how you doing? Almost done. Okay, so looked at all of that. I want to look at, we're looking at the Aussie yen yesterday, right? Not a pair that I watched, I missed out on this, but you know, we were talking about it coming up to test that resistance before turning back down. It did that exactly. So it went up, tested that resistance before coming back down. If you did get into the Aussie yen, I know many of you do trade Aussie yen. Hope you got a good profit on that. If you haven't closed out your trade already, I would suggest maybe something to think about, because it is at that trend line, right? Finding a bit of a support, and we know that the last couple of times it found a support, we saw that bounce towards that resistance. So if you haven't already, I would say get out, or maybe think of getting out that trade. Do a good 40 pips right now. Okay, so that's the Aussie yen. Thinking that could see it push back up just because of the way the yen is moving as well. With that, then pound dollar, anticipating that break. Looking at the pound yen for Booba. It's gone up, tested this level. Think that the next move on the pound yen is going to be highly dependent on what the pound dollar does. Right? You can see somewhat of a similar pattern. If it does break to the downside, then we're going to see the pound yen also trade significantly to the downside. If upsides are going to be capped between this range with a major resistance very nearby at 184. So I'm not super keen on the upside. I'll be looking to see if the pound dollar drops or catch the pound dollar. If I miss out on the pound dollar, then I will switch over to the pound yen, looking at maybe below 182. Take profit, good, very good 135 pips to the downside. Stop loss, at 50, 60 pips would be fair, right? And you can see that the last time it came up, tested this level and rejected. We saw a massive drop, looking for a similar move in that fashion, right? So you could even be looking at almost a 145 to the downside. All right, hope I answered your question there, Buba, about the pound yen. Then euro yen, again, very similar to what we expect on the euro dollar, looking for that drop. That's actually developing a lot nicer. So I think that the euro yen revising these lines still stays that away. Take that one away. Reasonable. Look for this to push down before we see the next level. I see it coming down. Let's clear out everything. So let's take it from the start again. Hey Danzig, you're most welcome there, Vel. Hope, does it align with your analysis? Hey Diana, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're well. Hey, the team is back. I'm just trying to find a good entry and a good take profit level for the euro yen. Have it. Very good to hear, Diana. Good to hear. I'm doing super. I'm on the stream, so I'm doing super. With the best people around. Could be looking at 156.9. Stop loss tight at about 50 pips. Take profit maybe at about 100. Could be looking at that on the euro yen. All right, looking for it to reject, confirm that rejection, break below that trend line, sell below that previous low or the previous swing level at 156 or 157, 156.70 to 156.65. Stop loss about 48 pips, 50 pips. Take profit about 110 towards that previous swing low. I'm not going to be anticipating a big drop because the yen is going to could counter or offset some of that downside potential. And blessed, I just did the pound yen, looking at that rejection, possible rejection, bouncing back up a little bit now because of the pound dollar reacting to that trend line. Have to be patient there. With all that, then looking at gold, right? Gold, we moving to the T, to the V, right? It said at that point, look for it to drop down, bounce back up. It's done that exactly. Came down, tested that support of 1930, bounced back up towards 1938, and then now back down again. All right. I'm very happy that these are the things that keeps me going when it moves as planned and I help as planned. Now on gold, if it dollar index continues to strengthen, then we're going to see gold push down below 1930. Needs to close below 1930 with the next major support at 1913. With a bit of a dotted line here at 1924. One more minute to close. I wanted to close a little bit lower. When I'm looking at this, if you're selling down, great, you know, hold on to it. But to trigger a intraday swing kind of trade on gold, I would say, oh, now it's closed right then. It's bounced almost immediately, slightly. I will want it to close below 1929.60 before I think it's going to come down. I would say that it's going to bounce a little bit before coming back lower. So along this point, I want to see it break. Then I'm going to see 1924, the first level. All right, so that's going to be driven by the dollar index. Okay, down to 1930, that was done. Needs to break 1930, 1929, 1929, below 1929, could be 1924. I am still, when I look at gold now, I am still scalping it on my prop account, doing well on that. So I don't do long-term or intraday trades. Very different to how I do my other trades. I just, when I have nothing else to do, I just sit there and scalp on gold. Okay, so that's done. Any further questions? Any further questions? Right? If not, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate that. The link again for the Discord channel is there. If you haven't already, do join. And then the next thing to have is in 1 hour. The link is going to be on Discord, or it's already on Discord. In 1 hour's time, I will be speaking at the at another brokerage webinar. So that's going to be on the H4 view, right? So longer term views, H4. Do join me, right? The link is there. It's going to be there. Do join me, register for the event, and then I'll see you there. So for now, trade well, trade safe. No session tomorrow, but I'll see you back on Thursday. If not, then I'll see you on the Discord channel. Take care now.